Hi, welcome to this video update, which is all about our favourite entry techniques into big trend reversals or trend changes. We're going to go and look at some charts in a moment. Now, in terms of the setup, it involves using Bollinger Bands, price action, and making a simple judgment on sentiment behind the chart, which is easy to do. Anyone can do it. Now, in terms of if you judge the sentiment behind this trade setup, you'll make it even more effective and profitable in my view. You can just trade it technically though, and I know a lot of people who do and they have good success with it. We like to look at the sentiment behind the charts. Just go into a little bit of detail about that. Now, in terms of when we're looking at the charts, we're just going to look at two trade setups that we did in our member center. So I'm not doing it in hindsight, okay? These were trade setups we actually gave. Now, before we go and look at the charts, if you do actually want all our trading techniques and also our daily technical and sentiment analysis of 14 major Forex pairs, you can click on the link beneath this video and get live access to our member center. Right, let's take a look at some charts. Right, we're on our first example, which is a USD Swedish krona. It actually doesn't matter what the name of the pair is. You're just looking for the setup. And if you look at enough pairs, you'll find this setup comes up a good few times each month. And it really, like I said earlier, puts the risk to reward on your side. Now, just for anyone unfamiliar with Bollinger Bands, got three bands, two outer bands, which are in orange, and the mid band, which is in green. Now, this is just a simple 20-day moving average, and the two outer bands just show you the volatility of the pair. Okay, the narrower the bands, the less volatility there is. Okay, so when the candle's moving sideways, they stick around the mean price, the bands are tight. When we start to move to the upside here, the bands start to expand, and also when we come down here as well. Now, prices generally will not stay outside of the bands for long. You can see a reversal here, back in. You see a move outside here, back in. This is the trade setup I'm going to examine in a moment. So on high volatility, you do not stay outside of the bands for long. Okay, the higher the volatility, the better. Okay, now in terms of what you are going to try and do is when you get outside the band, you want to get some confirmation that prices are exhausting, okay? And basically, do not just buy outside the bands. That's what I'm saying. Obviously, get some confirmation, then place your stop behind a key level. Now, when you sell off like here and the bands widen out, you've got high volatility, greed, or fear is in play, obviously fear in this instance, and prices will just naturally revert back to the mean price. They always do, which is the green line. Okay, but they can very often move band to band, which you'll see very frequently in terms of trade setup. So it's an extremely simple trade setup, and the logic upon it is soundly based. Okay, now we got very interested on this candle here. Why? Because it's after a major news event, which is the Federal Reserve in America. They are totally ruling out interest rate hikes this year, very dovish, and the USD falls on the Swedish krona. But what you can note is we come off the low and bounce off a key level. Well, if you looked at the media, they're all saying, the US dollar is going to continue to sell off, etc., etc. But that's your warning that it's not. It's not your cue to buy, but she bounces from 910, which is a good level of support. So you want some confirmation. So where do you get it? You get it on the next candle, okay, the blue one. The tail cannot take out this tail. That's indicating even more that selling is exhausted. You can then come in long back in the band, okay? And you can see what happens. She pops off to the upside, and she's already reverted to the mean price. Now, that's your first target. Very often it's going to run band to band. You have to make a decision upon that, okay? The way you see price action. Personally, I think it's going to run band to band, probably hit the high again, okay? You've now got support at today's low. What you can do, and what we do all the time, is we hit the mid, we've got 2 trades on, take one off, okay, so we bank half our profit, and now this support level is held, we can bring our stop up to lock in a minor profit on the second trade. You can always take 50% of your trade off. The trade setup is very, very simple. It does, like I say, work very effectively if you're selective with your pairs, but high volatility outside of a band, and here you had a major news event as well. That makes this a trade we're definitely going to go for. We don't care if we're wrong. Well, we'd rather be right, but we're normally getting 3 to 1 on these trade setups, sometimes 5 to 1 or more. You don't need to win many trades to make profit out of the trade setup. So it's very, very simple, but it's very, very effective. Okay, and just generally in our videos, we do this sort of trading a lot. Anyway, if we do see high volatility, it'll always be this type of trade entry technique that we use. Right, let's just have a quick look at one more pair, which is going to be USD MXN. On the USD MXN, it's a similar setup to USD SEK, but there's subtle differences between all trade setups, and this one is in relation to the stop, which I'll go through in a moment. But in terms of this pair, it is a very volatile pair, and in terms of the price action, the volatility here tightens up. It gets a bit wider here, but then we really widen out here. Okay, so you can see this band really sort of collapsing to the downside, and we move outside of the band. It's a nice big fall. Okay, just like on the SEK, we make a new low, and then we finish off the low. It's on the same day. Okay, now I want to buy. Okay, but where do I put my stop? In terms of when I'm looking for levels, I'll always look for what I consider a big level. And I think this here is a big level. This is where the USD really pushes off to the upside, okay? So that is support. But this is the Mexican peso. So I don't be right behind that level. I want another level that I can use. I'm using this candle here, which was exhaustion of selling. And that was a big low, okay? So I'm going to put my stop a little bit further back. You never know that funds very often have a habit of pushing it through a level, then straight back. Mexican peso volatile, so I use a relatively wide stop. But in terms of coming in, it's the same. Blue tail can't get to the red. I'll come straight back in the band. Okay, as soon as we get in the band, I'm long, and now we moved up quite nicely. Now, in terms of now, I'll bring my stop up. Sorry, I'm drawing my trajectory right. So what I can do is bring my stop almost up to entry, okay? Just behind this blue candle, okay? Am I going to take 50%? Well, we're not yet at the mid band, but it's a big, strong move, okay? And we're on a Friday evening. So what I'll probably do is I'll bank 50%. That guarantees me a reasonable, well, actually quite a nice profit because it's a nice big candle day, volatile pair. So put that in the bank, and then I can look maybe to put it in next week above the high, these two bodies, and the 20. I do feel this one is going higher, but I like to be cautious, so I'll bank 50 so I can enjoy the weekend without worry. And where do I think we're going? Well, I think we're going to do band to band. We'll see next week. But the actual trade setup is just very, very simple. You do have subjectivity in it, of course, but the basics of it are pretty easy to master. And in terms of the sentiment behind the chart, I just like to look at that. You can do it price action only, but for me, sentiment gives me confidence, adds weight to my view, will help me decide how big my trade size is, etc. And a lot of people, and I say this frequently, just like looking at price action, sentiment drives the chart. If sentiment looks like it's exhausted, then that is going to increase the odds of your trading. Because sometimes when you get big volatile move outside the band, it still can continue, okay? The odds are that it won't, but it has done on numerous occasions in my trading career. So I'm always getting confirmation inside the band and always checking the sentiment as well. Obviously, we've got some other videos on Bollinger Band techniques in the playlist on our site. I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier. And these are the techniques we obviously use every single day in the member center. We use various techniques, but like I said earlier, it's one of our favorites. Right, that is the video for today. Thank you very much for watching me as usual. Take care. Have a good day.